G'day folks, Paul, Perth FourbeeFour Adventures, and this good looking rooster here is Gary, and we've been set a bit of a challenge by our friends over at Shuey's Adventures to name 5 things we hate about our vehicles. So today's Gary's turn, and he's going to tell us 5 things he hates about his lovely Jeep.
Well, funny enough, Shuey sort of put the challenge down and wanted us to name 5 things that we hate about our car. So I immediately put a list together and then had to start killing answers to narrow it down to the 5 things that I hate about the car. So, without further ado,
Number 1.
In no particular order, what do I hate about this car? The front windscreen. It's virtually straight up and down. I've got to be honest, I don't know a Jeep, the traditional Jeep shape Jeep owner, who doesn't go through windscreens like underpants. Every single one of them crack. And I'm not talking about cheap knockoff replacements that you put in. I'm talking about factory fitted stuff. They just crack. And I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Frustrating to the max, but that's number one.
Number 1.
No, number 1, straight off the bat.
Alright, number 2.
Number 2, not limited to JK or traditional shaped Jeeps, but also for any model with Jeep. Jeep in some language somewhere means particularly bad attitude. It's a vehicle with serious attitude problems. You're driving it along randomly, bells start dinging, buzzers start going off, lights start flashing. Yeah, no idea what the bell dinging or the light flashing or the buzzers going off means. Nothing wrong with the car. It just goes off, then goes back to its normal life and changes attitude back to I'm a real car again and I'm happy to drive, then bells and whistles go off again.
One minute it's a grumpy teenager, and the next minute it's dad telling you what to do.
100%. And that's, again, frustrating because when you're driving along and you've got warning bells going off, automatically things start. You're looking at your temperature gauges and you're looking at the gauges and you're trying to feel what the hell's going on with this car. Absolutely, nothing's changed, nothing's wrong, nothing's broken. It just decides it wants to send alarm.
Right.
Buzzers going off. So that I hate about it.
I love the one with the low tyre pressure warning, where you will get to where you're going 4-wheel driving, you will pull off, you will get out, you will let your tyres down, you will get in the car, drive off, and about 2 minutes later, alarm goes off, light comes off to tell you that you've got low tyre pressures.
Absolutely. I actually don't look at that as being an attitude problem. I look at that as the car recognising the fact that you've let the tyres down. It's a little bit slow, but then it says, hey, just in case you've forgotten you let your tyres down a couple of minutes ago, I'm going to remind you.
And the silly thing is, you find yourself going, I know!
I do that. Ain't very much car.
So you actually find yourself talking back to the Jeep like an angry parent.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, and this probably should have either been number 1 or number 5 because it's my biggest hate of this vehicle. I can't park this car and leave the keys in the ignition with the windows up and close the door with any confidence whatsoever.
Okay.
Because it shouldn't lock itself. It's not meant to lock itself. But it does randomly. So if I was here, keys are in my pocket, by the way. If I was here and just closed the car up and had my keys in the ignition, hey, it's good as gold, it's going to be fine. And it decides to lock itself. Pain in the backside, you've actually got to break into your car. It does it regularly. No one can tell me why. Shouldn't, but does. That's my biggest hate about this vehicle.
And anybody who follows Andrew St Pierre White's 4x Overland channel might recall that when he picked up his 105 series build in the 105 series build in South Africa and drove it to its destination, he did exactly that. He pulled up on the side of the road, got out of the car to walk around and do a bit of filming, and when he went to get back in the car, It had locked itself with the keys in the ignition, and he had to break a window to get back into a car that he had just picked up from being rebuilt.
I'm feeling his pain. So yeah, that's my biggest hate, and that came in at number 3.
Okay.
Number 4, any Jeep Wrangler owner will tell you this. The roof comes off. I've got a hard top version. You can put a soft top version on. They're all the same. Sun roofs come off and all the bits and pieces. Fortunately, I live in Perth in Western Australia, and it doesn't rain a lot. Because when it does, it rains as much inside the car with the roof on as it does outside the car with the roof on. It leaks like a flippant sieve. So no big deal, but you get wet.
You get wet. Yeah.
So like when we're going 4-wheel drive and I want to go to work, if it rains and you get a little bit damp, hey, no big deal, no harm, no foul. But if you're actually getting dressed up to go to a party or go out for dinner and stuff, and if it's raining, I kind of look for another vehicle to go in, or I
take an umbrella.
Well, no, not really. I kind of put my jacket and stuff like that in the back with something over it so it doesn't get wet, so you can get out and actually look all right. Yeah, no, look, the seals in them aren't the world's best. And as a result, like I say about rain, it does let water in. It's plain and simple. And when you're out 4-wheel driving on the dusty roads, like people say, oh, why have you got your window down? I say, it doesn't matter. Because I can have all my windows up in this thing, and it lets water in when it's raining, so it lets dust in when it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those things, and I know others that drive Jeeps, and particularly with the JKs and the JLs, all the same. Each and every one of them the same. So I think that's a standard feature. It allows the air and the dust and the water in.
Fair enough.
And to round it all off, number 5, like I say, I've got a much bigger list if we wanted to go and name some more. But number 5 is the fact that this thing is definitely the most uncomfortable vehicle that I've ever owned and driven. The seats, horrible. The driving position, not much better than horrible. Yeah, no, look, they're not built for comfort driving on the road.
No.
And if we're starting to talk about things that we love about the car, that's one of the, like it's a hate because it's uncomfortable, but I knew that before I bought it.
Yeah, sure.
That's one of those things.
They're not built for highway driving. If you want comfort on a Jeep and highway driving, buy a Grand Cherokee.
Absolutely. Like, in all honesty, if you're looking at something that's got any form of luxury or comfort, not even luxury, just comfort about it, because you're going to be driving at 140 kilometres a day to and from work and around town as your daily driver, don't. But when you want one that goes off-road to do the same thing, right. Absolutely.
And I think we can all admit that this little girl, she does all right.
Yeah, it goes all right. Goes all right.
As I've said before, we are yet to pull Gary out of any nasty situation. We will one day.
Yeah. I've avoided a few situations where it probably would have required me being pulled out. And I've sat back and watched other people on our channel go, I'm going to have a crack at that.
But that comes with experience and a bit of, nah.
Absolutely. Yeah, but it's like anything. I look at it as not necessarily I'm not doing the hardest line or anything like that. I'm doing the smart line, because I'm not the guy that has to get his door replaced, or I'm not the guy that, let me see, they've stripped teeth off the bloody axle and bits and pieces. Because I look at it and go, you can take that line, you can take that line, you can take, I know what line I'm taking. I'm taking that one.
And then I'm going to sit back and watch Ben and Dylan take that line.
Well, and I also look at it a majority of the time. I mean, let's face it, we've been around the track and we've all gone through it. If you need to drive a tough line, you drive a tough line.
Yeah.
You do it as safely as you possibly can. But when we're operating the whole YouTube channel, there's a lot of effort and time. Paul does most of it with his leg work. I mean, God, no, I don't even walk the hard tracks. I'll work it out as I'm going, because it's too much like hard work. But we have a tendency where Paul will be at the bottom of the hill and does a lot of walking halfway up while he's filming, and I'll more often than not jump in this thing, drive to the top of it, up one of the easier lines and grab a camera from the top, so we've got the different angles. So that's my excuse. That's absolutely my excuse.
All right, well that's the 5 things Gary hates about his Jeep. Here's a challenge for you if you're willing to admit it. In the comments below, tell us what you drive and what are the 5 things you hate about your vehicle. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll see you out there on the track very soon. Cheers.
See you guys.